You know what's funny? Go to any farm auction in the Midwest right now, walk the rows, count the green machines, then come back next year and count again. The number is going down. Not collapsing, not crashing. Just quietly going down. And the guys selling their Deere combines aren't struggling farmers. They're the best operators in the business, the custom cutters, the guys running harvest from Texas all the way up to the Canadian border, the men who cannot afford to be wrong about equipment. And they're switching. Today on Farm Gear Pro, we're going 3 machines deep. The John Deere X9 1100, America's flagship combine for a generation. The Claas Lexion 8900 Terra Trac, built by a family-owned German company that's been cutting grain since before your grandfather was born. And the Fendt Ideal 10T, a machine engineered on 4 continents and assembled in northern Italy that is quietly changing what American farmers expect out of a combine. Buckle up. This one's going to make some people uncomfortable. Let's set the table first, because before we get into the head-to-head, you need to understand what each of these machines actually is. Not the brochure version, the real version. The John Deere X9 1100. This is the machine that defined American grain harvest for over 40 years. A 13.6-litre twin-rotor flagship. In high-yielding corn, under the right conditions, this combine can move up to 7,200 bushels per hour. In wheat, operators have reported up to 30 acres in a single hour. Every harvest crew, every custom cutter fleet, every farm magazine cover from 1990 to 2020, the X9's predecessor models were in those photos. The Green dealer network is the largest in the country. Parts availability is real, financing is accessible, and the brand loyalty that comes with 4 decades of dominance is not nothing. When your dad ran Deere and his dad ran Deere, switching feels like a bigger decision than it probably is. But here's the thing, loyalty doesn't cut grain, the machine does. The Claas Lexion 8900 Terra Trac. Claas is a family-owned German company, founded in 1913. Over 110 years of building harvest equipment, and they have never been bought out, never been absorbed into a conglomerate, never been handed over to a board of directors answering to Wall Street. That ownership structure matters because it shows up in the product decisions. Engineers making calls, not quarterly earnings reports. The Lexion 8900 runs a 16.2-litre Mayen engine, producing 779 horsepower at peak. That's serious iron, but the real story is what happens inside the machine. And we're going to get into that in detail. The Fendt Ideal 10T. Same 16.2-litre Mayen engine, 790 horsepower at peak, built on a clean-sheet platform that AGCO designed across 4 continents. The cab and electrical systems, developed in Heston, Kansas. The cleaning system, engineered in Denmark. The whole machine assembled in Bregenz, Italy, and shipped worldwide. This is not a machine that was redesigned from an old platform. It was built from scratch to win. 3 machines, 3 different philosophies. 1 harvest season. Let's go. Round 1, threshing, where the grain actually gets made or broken. Here's what most farmers don't talk about enough. Grain damage at the rotor. You can run a combine that processes an enormous volume of crop per hour and still lose money on that bushel if you're cracking kernels, if you're losing grain out the back, if your sample quality is taking a hit. The grain elevator doesn't just pay you for volume, they dock you for quality. That dockage is an operating expense that doesn't show up on the combine spec sheet, but absolutely shows up on your settlement sheet. So let's talk about how each of these machines handles the crop. The Claas Lexion 8900 runs what Claas calls the APS Synflow hybrid system. Here's why that matters. Before the crop ever reaches the main rotors, it passes through an accelerated pre-separation drum. That drum is designed to thresh out roughly 30% of the grain before centrifugal force from the main rotor ever touches it. That grain falls out gently. Lower velocity, less impact, less cracking. What's left enters the twin rotors at a lower crop volume and lower velocity than it would in a conventional rotor system. The result is a cleaner, gentler threshing process that protects kernel integrity from start to finish. 30% of grain separated before the rotor even touches it. That is a fundamentally different engineering approach, and the grain samples show it. The Fendt Ideal 10T takes a different path to the same destination. The dual helix rotors on the Ideal are nearly 2 feet longer than the closest competitor on the market. Each rotor is 24 inches in diameter. Because the crop spends more time in the rotor cage, more contact time, longer path, Fendt can run rotor speeds lower while still completing the threshing process. Less rotor speed means less centrifugal force on the grain. Less centrifugal force means less cracking. Longer rotor, lower speed, less damage, better sample. Operators who ran an X9 through last fall's corn harvest and then ran a Lexion 8900 or a Fendt Ideal this season are pulling grain tank samples and posting them side by side on social media. The difference is visible to the naked eye. Cleaner grain, fewer cracked kernels, better quality score at the elevator. The John Deere X9 twin rotor system is a proven design. It works. But it was not built with the same singular focus on grain quality protection that both Claas and Fendt brought to their flagship platforms. In high-volume throughput, the X9 is competitive. But on grain quality, the Europeans have an edge that is showing up in farmer results. All right. Before we get into the cab and the software situation, I need you to do something real quick. If you're a farmer, an operator, a custom cutter, or you just love following where this industry is going, hit that subscribe button on Farm Gear Pro right now. We do this every single week. Machine by machine, brand by brand. No dealer talk. No sponsorship spin. Just real analysis for real operators. Hit like on this video if it's giving you value. It helps the channel keep doing this work, and share it with someone in your operation who's making an equipment decision right now. Alright, back to the iron. Round 2. The cab. Because 16 hours is a long time to be in a bad seat, modern combines are not driven for an hour. During peak harvest, operators are in that seat 16, 17, sometimes 18 hours a day after day, for weeks. The cab is not a luxury feature. The cab is a workplace. And the quality of that workplace directly affects your decision-making, your reaction time, and your physical condition at the end of harvest. This is an operating expense that doesn't show up on a spec sheet, but it shows up in your body. The Claas Lexion 8900 cab, Claas calls it the Seabis cab, was built with active suspension seating, low interior noise ratings, and panoramic glass that gives the operator full situational awareness of the header and the crop going in. When you're managing a 45-foot draper header at 5 miles per hour through standing corn at dusk, that visibility is not a comfort feature. It is a safety and productivity feature. The Fendt Ideal 10T runs the Vision cab. It pulls interior noise levels down to 73 decibels at full operation. For reference, a normal conversation is about 60 decibels. 73 decibels inside a combine at full capacity, running a 16-liter engine at peak power, is genuinely impressive engineering. Quiet enough to take a phone call without raising your voice. Quiet enough that the operator isn't fighting noise fatigue on top of physical fatigue at the end of a 17-hour day. 73 decibels. Full operation, quieter than most pickup trucks at highway speed. The Fendt Ideal 10T also offers an optional twin joystick steering system that replaces the traditional steering wheel entirely. Operators who've used it describe a completely different ergonomic experience. Less shoulder rotation, less physical tension in the upper body over the course of a long shift. Long-time John Deere operators who have spent years in the green cab are vocal about one thing when they switch: back pain, shoulder fatigue, climbing out at 10 p.m. and struggling to stand up straight. They climb out of a Lexion or an Ideal at the end of a comparable shift and notice a difference. That's not marketing, that's what they're saying. The X9 1100 cab is functional. It's what generations of American operators have learned on. But in this specific category, operator comfort across a long harvest day, the European machines are building a reputation that is spreading through the custom harvest community faster than any advertisement could. Round 3, software and the right to fix your own machine. This one is personal for a lot of farmers watching right now, and I'm going to give you the facts straight. In January of 2025, the Federal Trade Commission, joined by the states of Illinois and Minnesota, filed a lawsuit against John Deere over its repair policies. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona later joined the complaint. The core issue: John Deere's proprietary diagnostic system, Service Advisor, is fully functional only inside an authorized John Deere dealership. A farmer at 4 in the morning during peak harvest, with a sensor fault locking out his combine, a $500,000 machine sitting still in the field, cannot fix it himself. He has to call a dealer, he has to wait for a service truck, or he has to trailer the combine to a dealer location. 4 a.m., harvest window closing, waiting on a dealer tech. That is not a hypothetical. That has happened to farmers across the Corn Belt, and the legal system caught up with it. In April of 2026, John Deere agreed to a $99 million class action settlement and a 10-year commitment to provide repair tools to farmers and independent shops. The FTC case is still moving forward. At Farm Gear Pro, we track this because software lockout is a direct operating expense. Downtime during harvest has a cost per hour. Lost acres, weather risk, contract obligations for custom cutters. Every hour a machine sits waiting on a dealer tech is money leaving the operation. Claas and Fendt take a different approach. Their machines are electronically complex. Every modern combine is. But the lockout philosophy is different. Fewer locked diagnostic functions, more farmer-serviceable systems, more access for independent shops. It's not perfect, but it's materially better. And for an operator who has personally experienced a harvest shutdown waiting on an authorized tech, materially better is the difference between a business that works and one that doesn't. Round 4. Dealer network and resale. The numbers on the ground. 5 years ago, the biggest practical argument for staying with Deere was simple: the dealer network, parts, service, availability. In most rural counties, the John Deere dealer was within 30 miles. The Claas or Fendt dealer might be 2 hours away. That matters when you need a part fast. That gap is closing. And in some markets, it's already closed. Claas of America has been headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska since 2001. Their facility on South 132nd Street is not just a regional office. It's the full assembly point for every Lexion combine sold in North America. In late 2025, Claas announced new full-service dealer locations in Atlantic, Iowa, and Mitchell, South Dakota for the 2026 season. Another location is planned for the Aberdeen, South Dakota area. The infrastructure investment is real and it's accelerating. Claas dealers, Atlantic, Iowa, Mitchell, South Dakota, Aberdeen area. 2026. AGCO sells Fendt through its dealer network and through the Fendt Lodge Customer Experience Center in Jackson, Minnesota. The footprint is no longer the liability it was 5 years ago. And then there's resale. Late model Lexion combines are holding their value on the used market in a way that is getting the attention of farm financial advisors and equipment appraisers. When you factor asset depreciation into your 5-year cost of ownership model, which every serious farm operation should be doing, the resale picture changes the total cost math significantly. Sticker price is not cost of ownership. Total cost of ownership is cost of ownership. The bottom line, all 3 machines, honest assessment. Here's where we land after going through all of it. The John Deere X9 1100 is still a capable machine. In throughput, in dealer accessibility in established markets, in brand recognition, it remains competitive. If you're in a county where your Deere dealer has taken care of you for 20 years and you have a relationship built on trust, that has real value and it's not something to dismiss. But if you are a custom harvest operation, if you are running combines 600, 700, 800 hours a season from Oklahoma to Montana, if grain sample quality is directly affecting your elevator settlements, if you have personally dealt with a software lockout during harvest, if you are doing 5-year asset depreciation analysis and looking at resale comparables, the European machines deserve a real evaluation. Not a demo, not a brochure, a real, numbers-based evaluation with your agronomist, your accountant, and an operator who has run all 3. The Claas Lexion 8900 Terra Trac brings 110 years of harvest engineering and a threshing philosophy that is protecting grain quality in ways the X9 system cannot match at comparable throughput. The Fendt Ideal 10T brings a clean sheet platform built for global harvest conditions with operator ergonomics that are changing what American farmers expect from a cab. The custom harvest crews already made their call. Beckley Harvesting, a custom operation with roots going back to 1955, walked away from the green paint entirely. 5. Claas Lexion 8600 Terra Trac combines paired with Fendt 900 series tractors. When the people who put combines on the road for a living, who stake their entire seasonal income on uptime, make that fleet decision, the rest of the industry pays attention. When custom cutters switch, the industry listens. John Deere is not finished. The green dealer network is still the largest in the country. The financing arm is still the most accessible. The brand is not collapsing, but the dominance is breaking. Family-owned Claas, founded over a century ago in a small German town, is now assembling combines in Omaha, Nebraska. AGCO designed the Fendt Ideal across 4 continents. American farmers are buying both. The next decade of grain harvest in the United States will not look like the last 40 years. The green rows at the equipment lot are going to look different. The custom harvest fleets are already different, and every serious combine purchase happening right now deserves a harder look than brand loyalty alone can justify. Farm Gear Pro is going to keep tracking this, machine by machine, season by season, because that's what this channel is built for. Thanks for watching Farm Gear Pro. If you found this breakdown valuable, share it with a fellow farmer and comment below your thoughts on this topic. See you in the next one.